Manchester United are called one of the biggest clubs in the world. Now, they, of course, have a big stadium, new stadium incoming, hundreds of millions of followers, historic trophies, and probably enough commercial partners sponsor every organ in the human body. They can keep every advantage that they so-called desire, because those advantages do not excuse their modern smallness. In fact, I would say they make it worse. This is the wrong takes. Case number 3, Manchester United are a small club. Exhibit A, their biggest figure retired in 2013. Yes, Sir Alex Ferguson won 13 Premier League titles and 2 Champions League with Manchester United. Then he retired in 2013. Today, every discussion still seems to return to him. Every manager is asked to restore his era. At this point, it is less football analysis and more carbon dating, isn't it? Man United have used one man's retirement as their personality for 13 bloody years. So Alex did not simply leave. He took most of the club size with him, didn't he? Exhibit B. Their fan base is a customer database. Yes, Man United claim around 1.1 billion fans and followers, but Manchester does not contain 1.1 billion people. So, by their own numbers, most of their support is not from Manchester. So, for years, they were the easiest club in the world to choose, weren't they? They were televised and won pretty constantly. Supporting them required the courage of backing gravity, which of course we all need, don't we? Now, every former Beckhamshire owner is counted as proof. The current club remains enormous. But inherited popularity is not present day greatness. It is brand residue. Just brand residue, isn't it? It is. It really is. Simply is. Now, they are an international entertainment company that occasionally remembers its registered office is actually in Manchester, or I suppose Salford, actually, if you think about where they actually play football. Marvel shirts sell everywhere too, but that does not make Spider-Man a holding midfielder, does it? Exhibit C, their legends do most of the work. Yes, then there are the legends, aren't there, with Gary Neville, Roy Keane, Rio Ferdinand, Paul Scholes, Wayne Rooney, to name a few. There are so many Man United legends on TV that every defeat becomes a school reunion. Whenever the current team creates nothing memorable, somebody tells another story about Roy Keane becoming angry at breakfast in 1999. Yes, well done. Did the treble. But other clubs create new history. Man United, use retired players to remind everybody that they once did. They are museum tour guides now, aren't they, with microphones? That's what they are. They do a museum. They're ancient, aren't they? That's all it is. Exhibit D. Mark Goldbridge is their most consistent performer. Yes, Mark Goldbridge. He does not even play for Man United. He does not coach them. Yet, he actually may be their most consistent performer. Managers disappear. Players lose form. But Goldbridge, he turns up every week with passion and unexpected, actually very unexpected analogies, for a man who has somehow made prostitutes part of football analysis. Now, just for the record, strictly analogies before his solicitor begins typing and trying to sue me. But yeah, their most reliable performer actually sits in a gaming chair. Exhibit E, the decline is now their identity. So since Sir Alex retired, Man United have gone 13 seasons without winning the league. They've actually finished outside the top 4 more often than inside it. Heck, they've even finished 15th recently, so it just says it all. Now, supporters may point to a second place finish and Champions League qualification, but yes, that is correct, but qualification is not a title challenge. In fact, their idea of a title challenge is finishing like 19 points behind the actual winner, or the eventual winner, so it's not great, is it? But look, it does give them permission to enter another competition in UEFA, but come on, Man United were once judged on their seasons by titles, now they're judged by whether UEFA sends them a welcome email. But yeah, one poor season is a setback. 3 can be called a rebuild, maybe a bit like Liverpool have done. 13 is not a difficult period, is it? It is a personality, and that is their personality now. This season, Man United celebrated finishing 3rd. Bournemouth finished 6th, only 14 points behind. That is not a chasm. Exhibit F, their money makes the case stronger. And the money does make the case stronger. A small club can blame limited resources, Man United cannot. They possess the money, support, facilities, worldwide appeal. Their expenditure does not disprove their smallness. It reveals how much financial assistance is required to disguise it. Their football suggests Bournemouth should actually be, a bug on the boot? That's what they should be, but they're not. There's barely any difference between them these days. So the final verdict is this. None of Manchester United's advantages have been ignored. I haven't. We've added them all in. But despite all of them, they remain emotionally dependent on Sir Alex Ferguson, culturally dependent on former players, financially dependent on enormous expenditure, and entertainingly, I suppose, dependent on Mark Goldbridge. They are not a small company. They are not a small brand. They are a small football club wearing one of the largest costumes ever manufactured. Sir Alex Ferguson built the empire. The legends of the game, your Wayne Rooney, your Paul Scholes, etc., they are now running the museum tours, aren't they? Literally, that's all they do when they're punditry or punditing for Manchester United games, and Goldbridge provides the entertainment on top of that. So the current team, they use a global superpower worth of resources to remain slightly better than Bournemouth or Brighton. It's not an opinion. It is the correct interpretation of every available advantage. That is case number 3. That is closed. That was the wrong takes. Correct evidence, wrong conclusions.